recording live in the virtual Lucky Number 7 Lounge across time and space through the magic of the internet. This is Dine, Drink Vegas, the podcast by and for everybody stuck at home, wishing they were in the land of neon lights and bad decisions. And you have stumbled into episode 31, our Plaza recap from our January trip. And we're also going to give you our drink of the day, plus a little bit of Vegas news. But before we can do any of that, we have to welcome in the leader in the luxury lounge, the king of comps, the former high roller of the high plains, now the Alabama slammer himself, Bill. Good afternoon, Bill.
How the heck are you, John?
Well, I'm doing okay. Now, listeners, we are very late with this episode. We actually recorded in our hotel rooms in Vegas, but the recording quality, something went very goofy with the audio, so we couldn't use it. Then my
Vegas
family,
happened.
My family went something of a tragedy that I don't really want to talk about on this podcast. So we've been very behind, but we're back and we're getting back into the groove of things. And our drink of the day is strictly because we are recording this precisely an hour before the Super Bowl kicks off, and we can call it the Super Bowl because we are not monetized. So we don't have to say the big game or that football game. We could still say Super Bowl. If you would like to take away that privilege from us by paying us, dear listeners, we'll let you. But until then, Super Bowl, come at us, NFL. And because it's Super Bowl Sunday, we thought the most appropriate drink would be beer. So, Bill, talk to us about your game time chugging beer.
So, as the leader in the luxury lounge, I can't possibly drink a domestic light beer. And you know that I've got a thing for Mexican beers. But what I went with today was an Erdinger Weissbrau. So it is a German beer that my local beer store has. And let's see how it sounds on opening. Yeah, no, that is righteous. And now for the first sip of the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, John. That's pretty fantastic. What do you have?
I, of course, have my preferred beer these days. Now, I used to be a big beer snob. I even used to run the local homebrew club, but I've cut way back on beer just to try to get my weight under control, because it turns out having 5 or 10 gallons of beer is not good for the waistline. Guinness is my default, and that is what we're rocking with today. And I will be pairing my Guinness with, when we get done with this podcast, with a big bowl of Frito pie, Texas style, which means nary a bean in my chili. Bill, what is your Super Bowl snack du jour going to be?
Well, first, I will talk about snacks in a second, but I want to say that, as is so often wrong or happens, you're just wrong, and Guinness isn't good. I was in Dublin over Thanksgiving, and I went and had Guinness in the Guinness brewery. I just don't like it. Like, how can you like something that dark and heavy, man?
Well, first of all, it is dark. I don't regard Guinness as heavy. There are very heavy beers, but I also like those. I do feel like there's beers I don't like. I would never say they're not good. Like, I don't care for Budweiser. It's a well-crafted beer. To me, that fermented rice flavor, like, I can't drink sake either. Doesn't do it for me. I'm not going to knock it for other people. Guinness to me is just, I love the roasty notes. I'm a big coffee drinker. Yeah, it's my jam. If it's not yours, that's okay. We could still be friends.
So
I would say I do like the beer you're drinking. That is also one of my favorite. And they have a Dunkel as well, which is also delicious.
So I fundamentally like the lighter textured beers. And listeners, for those of you who haven't had the Erdinger Weissbier, it's still a German beer. So when I'm saying lighter beer, don't think Coors Light. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Mark, right? Don't think Coors Light. Think lighter on like the European scale of things.
Right.
That's just, I don't know, that's where my sweet spot is.
Yeah, it's an excellent beer. It's actually, I think the last time we went to Hofbrauhaus in Vegas, that was my beer. That's what I ordered on draft.
I think that is a phenomenal choice.
Yeah, you chose wisely. I happen to like that beer. Turns out I didn't want to deal with HEB. I went to United, and Guinness was of all the things I like, Guinness was the thing that popped off the shelf today. Tends to be my default when I have a beer. Well, let's jump right in because the clock is ticking and we do want to see the game. even though we hate both teams. By the way, Bill, let's do this. It's an hour before kickoff. Let's do predictions sure to go wrong. By the time we publish this, the game will be over. So the listeners will know automatically if we're right or wrong. So the line favors Kansas City by a point. Who you got?
So I don't bet on the NFL. I'm a college football fan. So I don't have a bet. What I have is a hope. And I hope the Eagles win for two reasons. One, Jalen Hurts is my favorite player in the NFL. To survive, that benching in the middle of the national championship game from Nick Saban, to come back the next year, sit on the bench all year, win the conference championship for Alabama, then to transfer to freaking Oklahoma and take them to the college football playoff. The man is immensely talented, and more to the point, he's classy. The second part of it is everybody I know back in your town, which used to be my town, is a huge Patrick Mahomes fan. And I'm sure Mahomes is a lovely human being, and he's obviously a great quarterback, but I can't cheer with everybody else in your town. So I don't have a prediction. I have a hope, and my hope is that the Eagles win this game. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles too, and mostly on hope. We are a couple hours south of Texas Tech University, and all of these people around here drive me nuts because they claim to have always been Chiefs fans. They were not. They were Cowboys fans. I grew up with these people. I know what they were. They only cared about the Chiefs when Pat Mahomes went there. So they're not Chiefs fans. They're Mahomies. That's what they are. And that's fine if they would just admit it. Also, Jerry Jones has ruined the Dallas Cowboys for decades. So as much as I hate the Philadelphia Eagles, seeing one of the NFC East rivals win a title when the Cowboys can't even get into the playoffs, just to rub it in Jerry's old, leathery, sad, drunken face, gives me the schadenfreude I need to survive in my existence as a Cowboys fan. Because I now grudge root for the Cowboys in that I want the Cowboys to suck until Jerry sells the team. Although Mrs. Adelson trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers now makes me think that she and not Jerry is the worst owner in Dallas sports. Mark Cuban, if by some miracle you hear this podcast, please, for the love of God, buy the team back. I don't know why you sold. Anyway, we both are saying Eagles. The over-under line is set at 49.5. You taking the over or the under?
I am taking the under because I think that, I don't know, I just don't see a huge number of points being scored in this game. How about you?
I'm taking the under simply because if it's the over, Kansas City wins.
Okay, that is fair, but that would cause me to bet based on what I want rather than what I believe, which is fundamentally why I normally bet on college football. I'm better informed on it. And I never bet on my Aggies because they're going to find a way to piss me off. So I bet on games like Alabama against the Little Sisters of the Week, and I'll take the over and under in games like that.
Okay, so this is foreshadowing for a topic that we're not going to get to immediately after this, but you are just now asserting that you bet based on good odds and sound logic, and we're going to put a pin in that and circle back around. Because
I am here for it.
I have questions. So we both got to go to the Plaza back in January. You actually got in a couple of other room reviews and some other places too, which we could talk about in later episodes. And I know you've got videos. Some are already posted, some are rolling out later. But let's stay Plaza centric. So Bill, let's start with your room. What room did you book? What was your overall experience?
I booked the Plaza Mini Suite, and I wanted to love this room because there's so much about the Plaza to love. But I will absolutely go back to the Plaza. I don't know if I stay there, right? So the Mini Suite is basically just a large room. Fine. And the killer feature of the room is that it had a bar in it, where you and I had one or two cocktails at some point, right?
9 or 10, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fine. But there were holes in my sheets. The soap dispensers in the shower were empty. And they fixed those problems when I pointed them out, but I specifically asked for daily housekeeping. and housekeeping never came even after I asked for it. So, you know what? The room just wasn't nice. The reason that I'm not upset about it is that that location is phenomenal. You're right by the Fremont Street Experience without being directly on it, so you get all of the noise and the pass-by traffic. Like that location is amazing. And you know what? The price was right. So I got what I paid for. I guess I just wish I would have paid a little bit more. What kind of room was that you were in, John?
So I was in a Lux room, and the Lux rooms are in the newly remodeled tower. And I will say the problem with your room is that whole tower needs to be redone. And I know they're going to get to it eventually. I just don't know when. Because your room has a ton of potential. It's just dated. The Lux rooms, it's not super luxurious, but everything is modern. It's super clean. I didn't get daily service either, but that didn't really bother me. The only problem with my room, and I did not remember to request this when I booked, and by the time I checked in, the place was starting to fill up. There was a big weekend, 3-day weekend with a convention happening in the hotel. I wound up with one of the Lux rooms where my windows faced out to the Fremont Street Experience. Now, I am a heavy sleeper, and sounds don't normally bother me. But even I struggled, and I didn't think I would. I struggled with the noise coming through the window on the Fremont Street Experience. So just know that if you're going to book a Lux room, you're going to be in the tower closer to Fremont. And if you can't handle the noise, make sure you book away. Your tower, all those rooms are fine. You can't hear the experience.
Yeah, I
But if
was in the
you're on,
South Tower, and that's part of why I didn't hate it. Right, like it was quiet, and I could sleep and relax.
so I've stayed in a Lux room before in the North Tower. If you're back away from the windows, it's fine. But if you're in one of the rooms where your window faces Fremont Street, you're going to hear that all night. Now, I will say to the folks at the Plaza, Oscars faces Fremont Street. You can't hear Fremont in Oscars. The walls are glass. I know Plaza has the phone number for a window person who could sell them a window that blocks out that noise. I would pay the extra $15 a night for y'all to fix that. I'm
Yeah, no,
just saying. Yeah, that's a
100%.
solvable problem. The room itself, though, don't get me wrong, it's not a super luxury room. It's clean, it's modern. I like the wood floor. I actually don't like carpet floors in Vegas, which is the norm because it's Vegas. And I do not want to think about the biohazards that inhabit most Vegas hotel carpet. There's any number of things that happens regularly in a Vegas hotel room. I want a hard surface floor for my own peace of mind. I don't want my toes to sink into the plush carpet and be intermingled with who knows which bodily fluids.
I wish you hadn't said that because now I'm thinking about it, and may you
Mm,
drink all the Guinness as punishment, sir.
that is my reward. All right. So let's talk about gambling and general vibes and amenities in the hotel. What'd you think, Bill?
So the amenities of the hotel I love. Oscars is a great steakhouse. I love, what is the name of the pizza place which is there?
Pop-up pizza.
I like Pop Up Pizza. I don't like it as much as a couple other places downtown, but Pop Up Pizza is great. The Sand Dollar Lounge is phenomenal. The staff is friendly and helpful. So the amenities of the hotel are great, and it is the best gambling odds in town. The other two competitors for best gambling odds are the El Cortez, but then you've got to go into the El Cortez or the Treasure Island, where you're conveniently on the strip. It's not quite as good, but the gambling is phenomenal. And in particular, what I'm happy about on this trip is that the Plaza introduced me to the statistically phenomenal bet that is playing craps, and that's placing your money on those bets where you roll every number but seven before you craps out.
Yeah.
So, John, why didn't
uh,
you make that statistically winning bet?
because that is one of the sucker bets on the game. I don't know how you kept hitting it. Just Statistically, it should have run you. You got very lucky a couple of times, including one time you had a bet on the lower half, the upper half, and the all, and you hit all three, which
I
is
did,
yeah,
and that was
good for
after I
you.
had made my upper half bet earlier. So my life experience, John, would suggest that it's an amazing bet.
Yeah. So my advice to you is next time, go make that same bet and go ahead since you're so confident. Bet the rent on it. See what happens.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know what? So listeners, here's what happened. And John, is it fair to say that when you and I walk into a bar, you are way more likely to talk to strangers than I am?
Exceptionally so. Yeah.
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 I don't like other people, right? Like stranger danger, right? Like I adopted that lesson from 1984. But I'm at the craps table and it's Saturday night and I was not having a great run of gambling on this weekend. And I hit off whatever. I wound up winning like $1,000 on a craps bet on that side bet. And then John and but when I remember rolling an 11 and I remember like hugging people around the craps table, right? Like that's the kind of night I was having. Then you and I went out for a drink and we went to that one bar, I guess Whiskey Liquor Up. And I
Yeah.
got some Redbreast 15-year-old, so just a phenomenal Irish whiskey, like a world-class Irish whiskey for $35 for a pretty decent shot. And then you and I wound up randomly attending a rock concert. Like Vegas just kind of happened that
Yeah.
night, and it
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah. It was a good night. And I didn't have as much luck as you, but I rolled into the Brian Christopher smoke free slot area at Plaza, which I do appreciate that space. It's not huge and the selection of games is somewhat limited, but I had a good run on Journey to the Planet Moolah. I balanced out my losses because I was down at that point of the trip, and had a good run on that particular machine. Pulled up even, and didn't walk away with the amount of money you did, but I did okay, and I'm happy with that. And then yeah, the band. So at Whiskey Liquor Up, if you're on the rotating bar, you could see the stage, but then they have a little open air set of seats off to the right, and you're literally staring down on the stage. And it was an all girl rock and roll band, and they were just incredibly talented. We had a good time. They played a lot of good songs. Yeah, it was a good night.
No, it was an amazing night. So overall, what would you say like the pros and cons are of the Plaza, and like who needs to stay there?
So to me, the Plaza is about location, the fun vibes on the property, and the price point. It's affordable without being a cheap dive. Like you said, the gambling's great. We didn't go see the show, but they now have a show. Misbehaves Mavericks, which is supposed to be an adult variety show. I've heard it's funny. We didn't do that. The Sand Dollar has live music. I don't think we caught more than one song, but there's bands in there. The video poker in there is good. The bartenders are good. The Moet Champagne and Pabst Blue Ribbon vending machine are fun. Yeah, Plaza's just it's the opposite of the Strip in all the right ways. You get kind of the tacky middle class, let your hair down vibes of downtown without being completely trashy. I really like the place. It's probably my favorite place in Vegas, if I'm honest.
So it is my favorite place in Vegas to gamble. Set aside the fact that I got phenomenally lucky at the craps table several times, right? Like I won 4 big craps bets.
The bubble craps at that, which is a whole different, yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what? Like the force was with me at blackjack. I think all the tables, if not all the tables, almost all of them pay 3-2. You can pretty easily get a $10 or $15 game. Depending on what table you're at, they will let you do stuff like double after a split. They will there are just some incredibly player friendly rules. Most of the games are hand dealt. Like you had talked before about the odds at video poker, which I fundamentally don't understand. Those odds are good. So to me,
it's outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, the biggest pro of the Plaza is that the gambling is just great.
Yeah.
They're also really super generous with their comps. Like I had a free room offer for a lower class room, which in retrospect I should have taken here. The price is right. That location is great. The thing that I can't get over is that room just needs a lot of love. There should not
Yeah.
be holes in the sheets. I should not be out of soap and shampoo. If they promise to send housekeeping by, they should do it. Like the room needs help.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that whole tower is a little neglected.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I hope they get around to renovating it. I really do. So let's talk about food because this is Dine and Drink Vegas. So we had a lot of great meals together. You arrived before I did, so you had a couple on your own. So what was your best meal of the trip, or best couple of meals of the trip? What or that kind of thing.
So I'm going to give a couple of honorable mentions. Before you got there, I went to the Wynn Buffet, and I just like the Wynn Buffet. The Wynn Buffet makes me happy. Like it's a good spot. Also, you and I went together to Oscars, and Oscars is always great. Even although next time we don't do Oscars last night of the trip because we were tired and Vegas had defeated us by that point.
Yeah.
So both of those were great meals. To me, though, oh gosh, I just forgot. So it's close. My second place meal was the brunch at 7th and Carson, because 7th and
Yeah.
Carson is amazing. And that full Irish breakfast I had like probably saved my life after the Saturday night I had before then. But to me, the best meal was Esther's Kitchen. And I know I've produced that video on YouTube. I think I've set it on delay. I don't think I've set it to roll out yet. But Esther's Kitchen is an Italian place where like local chefs take their out of town guests. You can't walk there from the strip. You can walk there from downtown, and we did. But it helps if you're a couple of big old boys when you're taking that walk, right? Because nobody really wants to mess with you. It was a little bit sketchy. But in retrospect, next time I probably pay for the cab. But yeah, Esther's Kitchen was my favorite meal. They make their own pastas. They make their own pizza doughs. It is great. You absolutely 100% need reservations. Like you do not just walk in there. How about you, John? What was your the best meal of the trip?
Yeah, I agree about Esther's, and I will say, like the walk to me, I actually enjoyed the walk there and back. I needed to physically move because I got the beatus. So before I go eat all that pasta and after, I need to burn some calories and all of that. So I'm glad we walked that, and I felt safe the whole way. But I would not recommend two 25-year-old girls dressed for an evening out, weighing $1.25, sopping wet. Yeah, ladies, get a cab. But we are two big uglies, and we were fine. But Esther's the service was great. The room was great. The food was just. I don't let myself have bread and pasta very often. Every bite I put in my mouth at Esther's was just phenomenal. Brunch at 7th and Carson was a close second. And my third place was the Dough Crow. Speaking of stuff diabetics shouldn't eat, the Dough Crow is like a croissant and a donut had a baby. And I got that from Pink Box Donuts there at Plaza as a dessert one night while you were playing blackjack. And then I sat down at the bubble craps, the shoot to win craps machine, ate my Dough Crow, and won $50. It was a good evening there.
So if you want to be able to make better dietary choices, John, what you need to do is move here to Alabama with me, where by state law, we have just banned the diabetes. For example, when I showed up at church this morning, they had fried okra and some tater tots and some cheese biscuits and some grits and some bacon and some sausage and a couple kinds of donuts, all of which was diabetes free because that's just how we roll here. That's why I can make better choices than you could when we were in Vegas.
There's a whole lot of dudes in Alabama called stubby because their doctors would disagree with everything you just said. I want to give one more shout out, and I don't know if you agree with me, but I think you might because you really needed a cup of coffee that morning.
Oh, wow.
The rooms at Plaza have coffee makers in them, and they're not the best coffee makers, but sometimes You just need survival coffee. But in addition to the donut shop, which has a full range of coffee drinks, the Plaza has its own coffee bar. And it is staffed by talented baristas. They have top notch coffee brewing equipment, La Marzocco espresso machine, the works. And they know how to use it. And I don't know what coffee beans they buy, but the coffee there was worth standing in line for. And the morning I was in line for me, but you texted you were on your way down, and you just got a cup of drip coffee, but I got a quad shot of espresso. It really was top notch coffee. They don't gouge for prices at the Plaza. The same thing at the Starbucks down the street would have cost twice as much money. It beat any Starbucks I've ever had, and it was cheaper. And I got to say, like, I love that Plaza has a true high-end coffee shop on premises. I think most people don't realize the gem that little spot is.
Yeah, no, that is great. So what are your overall takeaways from this trip?
I think my big thing is that, downtown's a good time. There's lots of ways to Vegas, but downtown is a good time, and you get a wide range of things. You can get little bits of upscale luxury in unexpected corners. You and I went down to Oak and Ivy and Container Park. Container Park is not a fancy place. Oak and Ivy is a fancy bar. They go toe to toe with any bar in that town. So I love that even though downtown is a little crass and a little crude and a little tacky, you can get a little luxury and not have your wallet abused the way the Strip does. And don't get me wrong, I will stay on the Strip again. I like the Strip too. But man, sometimes you just gotta Vegas.
You absolutely do. So, in terms of my takeaways from the trip, one of them was that you've just got to Vegas. Now, to be clear, set your own personal boundaries and do that before you go in. Know what matters to you. I'm going to spend X amount of dollars. Here's what I will and will not do, or whatever. Once you set those boundaries, just kind of let Vegas happen. That Saturday night in Vegas, I think, was my single favorite night in Vegas that didn't involve my wife being there, right? Like it was great. I won some money. We wound up finding just randomly a super high-end whiskey at a great price. Then there was a rock concert. Then I went back to the hotel and I think I won some more money at 1 a.m. Sometimes just set your boundaries, but let Vegas take you. Sometime.
The night before we were at Whiskey Liquor Up, I can't remember what you were doing, but I was out on Fremont in front of the stage closest to Main Street, that Main Street stage, and just out there randomly dancing with people in the crowd.
English couple you danced with.
Met a nice English couple. I assumed they were just being friendly. They might have been looking for other things. I'm not the guy for that, but we had a great conversation. We had a few laughs. But like you said, know your limits. Like I'm not out there trying to do anything real stupid.
The one other takeaway I got from this trip is I miss spa trips to Vegas because I am secure in who I am. I am perfectly willing to go into the spa. And I enjoyed the fact that once you're in the spa, nobody can find you for 2 or 3 hours. And it's the best relaxation in the world. It's also a lot slower way to lose money than anything else in Vegas. So my next trip to Vegas, I go somewhere that's got a proper spa.
Yeah, and I hear you, and I think the Strip offers things that downtown can't, and the spa is one of them. I do love just walking around and seeing all of the beautiful art in places like the Cosmo or Bellagio with the conservatory or things like that. You don't get that downtown. So if you're looking for classy and
Hey, before we move on and talk about Vegas news, can I say one last thing about meals on this trip?
Go ahead.
You and I went to Le Cirque. We had a phenomenal experience. We both loved it. And neither one of us even thought about mentioning Le Cirque as the best meal of the trip because Esther's was that good.
Yes. I think that's fair. And it's not that Le Cirque was bad because it was gorgeous. Um, but again, that may have to do with the fact that that was my third trip to Le Cirque, and the second one I can actually remember the food. Um, it is a gorgeous experience. I think everybody should do a fine French restaurant at least once in your life. And every 2 to 3 years, that's an itch I want to scratch. I don't think it'll ever be my favorite thing. Even if I became a billionaire tomorrow, I still don't think I would want that meal more than once every couple of years. I do love the creativity and the artistry of the meal and the quality of the service. So Le Cirque is, the question I asked was, what was the best meal? The most amazing dining experience of the trip was Le Cirque. If
Yeah,
you, yeah,
the best meal was probably at Esther's.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer good hearty Italian food over some of the Le Cirque dishes are so beautiful you almost feel guilty eating them.
You do.
And
Well,
you're
hey,
not,
John,
yeah.
what's going
Anyway,
on in Vegas news?
so we're going to keep the news a little short tonight because we're trying to get to the football game, and we are trying to be more regular. But a couple of things that are gone, and nobody's going to cry a tear over any of these. Number one, Salt Bay is out on the park now. My wife and I had lunch at Salt Bay. It was fine. I would not have paid the big money they wanted. Bill, you never got your Salt Bay experience. Are you sad you never had your steak with salt that came off the hairy arm of a sweaty Turkishman?
I am not, first, because of the words you just used, and second, because you had been there. And while I will criticize you, mock you, make fun of you, do all those things all the time, you've seen me do it.
Oh
The
yeah.
thing that you're almost never wrong about is food. And you and your wife just did not enjoy Salt Bay. I had no need to go.
Yeah, it was fine, but it was not. Yeah. And their lunch special was a good price. It's not, but still,
Yeah.
there were way better things. Another
So
thing that's out that I won't shed any tears over. All three TGI Fridays located at Boyd properties around the valley. None of them in the big tourist areas. They are all gone. TGI Fridays is now out of the state of Nevada. Bill, any sadness over seeing a chain restaurant depart Las Vegas?
my sadness is that there would be tourists to Vegas who would go there. Y'all, if you like TGI Fridays, great, cool. God bless. I hope you enjoy your meal. Go to it in the town that you're already from. When you're in Vegas, there are so many phenomenal dining experiences to be had. Do something that you can't do in your hometown. Like,
Yeah.
please, for the love of bacon, don't go to TGI Fridays, which you can't now, or Denny's or other stuff like that. Go to the high end French meal. Go find a slice of pizza at some dive downtown. Like, you don't have to spend a lot of money here. Just go do something you can't do in your hometown.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not sad.
Yeah, if you're going to hit a chain, at least make it one that's not. I was actually in a Reddit thread earlier today about Buca de Beppo. And me, and the guys ate there for lunch on a guys' trip not that long ago. I didn't mind breaking the no chain rule because I don't live anywhere near one of those establishments. And it was just one of those situations where there were, 5 large hungover men that just needed food.
Yeah.
So we just took what was available. But even that, none of us live near one of those. So it was I'm not saying never go to a chain, but like you said, don't go to anything that you could get within a 2-hour radius of your own front door. Try something different. Local places are preferable, but even if you're going to do a chain, like, hey, I don't live near an In-N-Out. If I've had a few drinks and I'm on the Link Promenade, I might throw down a double animal style because at least I can't get it at home. Get out of your comfort zone. It's Vegas.
100%.
So
what
go
am I
ahead.
seeing here on the run sheet about El Cortez and having new spaces?
Yeah, 10,000 square feet of new gambling. Ike's Bar is gone. It's been replaced with a roulette bar. There's now a show bar in that area, a new high limit room. I think they said 2,200 new slot machines, elevated ceilings. It's supposed to be gorgeous.
So I was in El Cortez on this trip because my favorite barber in the entire world is the Speakeasy Barbershop in El Cortez. Like that's the only thing which would cause me to go into that building, and it was still constructioned off with like no hope of being done. So you're saying that we were there 2-3 weeks ago. You're saying that all that is now done and like it's open?
The soft opening was 3 days after we left.
Huh.
I don't think the noodle bar is open, which they called Sin Nudes or Hot Nudes. Anyway, clever name. Of course
they did.
Yeah, but yeah, it's now up and running, and we just missed it by a couple of days.
Huh. Well, that is super sad and might eventually cause me maybe to go back to El Cortez because it is great gambling. Oz, just that place is so dang dingy.
I got to say that I'm still disappointed when you and I both stayed at different rooms in the original 47s. Those rooms were so beautiful, but they just don't deliver. Like in my room, the fridge and the coffee maker were broken and nobody cared. I went to the desk. They were like, yeah. It's like I booked this room because I wanted these amenities. There were empty rooms, like move me to a room where this stuff works, something. Knock $10 a night off my deal so I could pay for coffee, something. And then you had the issue with your room. They gave you the key, but it wasn't ready, and you had to deal with housekeeping. El Cortez has so much potential. I don't know. Maybe I want to walk through it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, what else is going on in Vegas, John?
So the last one, and I'm actually going to quote from Eater Vegas. A new Mexican joint opened at the Cosmo, and I tend to not go for Mexican food in Las Vegas, although I've done it a few times with varying degrees of success. Like we had survival Mexican breakfast at Nacho Daddy. Wasn't great, but you and I needed breakfast, and they were there for us. But there's this place at Amaya, and Eater Vegas said this, and I'm just going to quote because it's not like I wrote it. With dim and sultry lighting, verdant foliage, and live fire spectacles, the newest restaurant at the Cosmopolitan combines Mexican cuisine with a vibey late night atmosphere. Here, diners might pour over 2-pound whole lobsters with chile cream sauce and platters of birria short ribs served atop a rich corn puree. DJs fill the Tulum-influenced space with high-energy tunes just right for throwing back shark-bait cocktails of rum, maraschino liqueur, and lavender syrup. So says Eater Vegas. I don't see this as a place we go on a guy's trip. I think that's a place I could take my wife.
I don't know that it's a place I could take my wife because we lived in actual Mexico for 2 years, and I saw 0 instances of lavender syrup, right? Like it's, I've got questions about where they're going, but I trust you. So if you and your wife enjoy it, let me know, and then I'll check it out.
I will say that if you're going for the Caribbean vibe, Mexico does produce and drink a fair amount of rum. And for them to run a little twist on a tiki drink instead of, and I'm sure they make margaritas and palomas. I don't know. I'd give it a go.
That's fair. I'm super sad I've never been able to drag you to a tiki bar, John, because I keep trying.
Yeah, I know. It's just, yeah. Oh, God, I love tiki bars. All right, Bill. Well, that's all I've got for this episode. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find us online and in social media?
Folks, you can find us on just about any social media platform at Dine, Drink, Travel, except for Blue Sky, which mysteriously deleted my account for some reason that I don't understand. You can also find us on YouTube. One of our channels is Dine, Drink, Travel, which is mostly about air travel and destination hotels. But for the purposes of this podcast, please check us out at Dine, Drink, Vegas.
And if you want to tell me how wrong I am about everything in life, you can find me at Dine Drink John on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And look forward to seeing you there. We thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast and there's somebody you know that likes Vegas, please share it with them so we can grow an audience, so we can keep bringing you this content. And until we see you, or until you hear from us again, happy travels.